Hey everyone, welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. It is going to be a great week here as we have two amazing guests from Oni, and we're going to be talking about all the comics on Final Order Cutoff for May 19th. So stay tuned as we not only have the incredible salesman that is Michael Torma, we have the phenomenal writer Karina Becco right after this opener. Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. All right, guys, and we have some amazing books that are finalizing this Monday, May 19th. As always, you can see all of the comics that are on Final Order Cutoff at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. There you will track down everything from Marvel, Dark Horse, Image, etc. But if you want to see Mad Cave and DC, you're going to want to go to lunardistribution.com. A lot of incredible books that we're going to be able to talk about, but you will be able to see everything at those websites and then pay attention to us here at Order Up to talk about some of the highlights, the big books, and some other amazing stuff at Oni. In fact, I'm going to show you guys really quickly the website as we share screens here. Previewsworld.com/finalordersdue will introduce you to a page that looks a little bit like this. In theory. There we go. Here you can see these are books that are due Monday, May 19th. And if you go to lunardistribution.com, you'll see a website similar to this. You'll scroll right down to upcoming FOC. Make sure you have it on the right date, May 19th, and you'll see all those books. But let's dive directly into it. And we're not going to start with Image for once, because I have a special guest, perhaps one of the biggest figures in comics, at least as far as a beard goes. We have the master of sales from Oni Press, Michael Torma.
Oh my goodness. Master of sales? What? Mathias, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. How's everyone doing? That's great. Awesome. I can't hear any of you. Should be
You're shouting in the comments.
You're shouting. They're shouting off.
All right. So, Torma, obviously from Oni Press, I feel that we should start this week with some amazing Oni Press books on FOC. I think there's at least one or two, right?
A couple. Yeah, we usually try to have a book or two on FOC. So yes, Dark Regards #2. This is, I have been super excited about this. The outreach from people and like from shops and readers have been amazing. There's a lot of metalheads out there, and this is a book just for them. Dark Regards follows the story of comedian, writer, actor, je ne sais quoi, Dave Hill, who back in the 90s, in the early days of the internet, pretended to be a death metal band called Witch Taint and told other death metal bands, you're not metal enough. And it's the story of one of these bands coming to, well, do what death metal bands do best: cut off heads, drink blood. It's hilarious. I got to put on some corpse makeup for it. Scared my little boy Otto. But yeah, it's amazing. And the cover Ds are all album homage variants. So for all you metalheads out there, if you like Priest, if you like Maiden, I think this one, cover D, is a reference to Iron Maiden's Killers, which is great. So, but yeah, and that hits FOC this Monday. Do not miss out.
If you're not familiar with Dave Hill, go on TikTok and look up Dave Hill. His TikToks are hysterical.
Dave Hill is.
And for everyone who doesn't have TikTok, you're probably old enough that you know Dave Hill.
Yeah. Well, it's on Instagram too. But it's just him showing up. Hey, it's Dave Hill from before. I'm here. I don't know what this place is, but I'm here. Yeah. And then it's him just playing guitar.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Wonderful faceless figure of our producer, Kyle, by the way.
Hey, Kyle.
Thank you. But Dark Regards is awesome. In fact, issue number 1 is in stores right now. It came out Wednesday. It even had a blood-filled cover, didn't it?
Yes, a cover that Hunter Gordonson, Dave Hill, and editor Carl Bohlers all went to a factory, went to a processing plant, whatever they call it, where you harvest blood, and they had parts of their blood introduced into the actual ink of this variant. It's the 1 in 50 variant. It's gorgeous. The cover's drawn by Dave himself, but it's a throwback to the old Kiss comics back in the day, or even the Mark Grunwald's Ashes mixed in with the Squadron Supreme first printing graphic novel. I have like 5 of those. Wherever I go to any shop, I always try to look for that variant.
Now, one of these days, I'll have to talk to you more about Mark Grunwald's Ashes. I happen to have have a pile of them, quite literally.
Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. When I make it to the shop.
Not FOC show story.
Yeah. Another time.
So, before we talk about more EC books that could be filled with blood, let's talk about something a little bit lighter. Oni Press has the incredible rights to Lion Forge and all of their Catalyst Prime series. I believe there's a trade paperback collecting some of the best of that coming out right now, right?
Yes. Quincredible, the Catalyst Compendium. Say that 5 times fast, right? This is the Catalyst Prime stuff was some of Lion Forge's best, I would say, superhero hidden gems that they had to offer. And this is from Rodney Barnes, the man himself, from The Mandalorian, from the what is it? Lita Hawks, the Philadelphia series. His stuff is phenomenal. And Quincredible follows the story of it's a young boy, Quentin West, who gets this superpower, invulnerability, but he doesn't get much else with it. No laser eyes, no super strength, no flashy powers. And so it asks the question, what can he do with this? How can he change the world? And it shows you even the smallest little thing can affect the most massive outcome, I guess is a good way to put it. But if you want a hidden gem, something that's not on everybody's top 10, something that, is one of those, what do you call it? A dollar bin fine, Quincredible, the Catalyst Compendium. This is the entire saga in one epic volume, retouched, remastered, redone, re-upped. Don't miss out if you missed out the first time. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when this was originally coming out. I want to say it was under the title Summit.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this is before I truly knew who Rodney Barnes was. I remember I was sold on this from a Kerry Randolph cover. That was a variant for the very first issue, but it was an amazing book. A lot of the Catalyst Prime really was. So it's exciting to see this stuff going back to print so people can have access to it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, Oni, we've been digging through our archives and our back catalog, and I'd say we have one of the strongest back catalogs when it comes to comics, just in terms of variety, and this is definitely one of the stars of the show, so to speak. So I'm excited too.
But then let's get to the star of the show, because not only do you guys have a back catalog, you guys have clearly looked back into the history of comics predating Oni, and you found the diamond in the rough that really wasn't in the rough. It just had a bit of dust on it. Yeah. And you dragged EC kicking and screaming from 6 feet beneath the ground and revived it. But now you guys are doing something much bigger. So to talk about that, I want to bring in our other guest, phenomenal writer Karina Becco.
Woo! Hey, Karina, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
All right. So, Karina, you've got a little bit of experience with EC at this point in time. Thanks to Oni, I believe you have done, let's see, Cruel Universe 1 and 5, Cruel Kingdom number 3, and Epitaphs from the Abyss number 3. So, yes. Literally, you've touched every single EC book of the modern era.
Yes. Yeah, I believe I have 6 stories now have been in various titles.
Yeah, but now you're going to do something that's a first for even EC. You're going to do not an anthology story, but you're going to do an actual EC miniseries of new solid content.
I am so excited about this book. I can't believe they let me go wild with this character. That as soon as I first wrote her, she was just like, I have more to do. I have more people to kill. And they let me tell that story. It's fantastic. And I'm really excited for people to see the gorgeous art too.
All right, well, let's talk about it. But before we dive directly into this new comic, Blood Type, as you said, this character first had the start of a story that needed to be continued. EC, Epitaphs from the Abyss, number 3. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin of our protagonist and how that leads into Blood Type?
Yeah, I just really wanted to tell a story about a vampire who wasn't introspective exactly. She's not one of your, kind of dumb, clueless vampires, but she is what she is, and she's good with that, and she has no problem with it. And anything she does, she's like, well, I'll just fix it later. And, if killing that guy makes a problem for me, well, at least I killed that guy and that was fun. And we'll figure that out from there. And I felt like there was a story there, and I wanted to put her in a problematic situation, which turned out to be her on a tiny boat with a bunch of rich guys. And how do you stay out of the sun if you're a vampire on a tiny escape boat? And well, she has some solutions that didn't quite work out to benefit everybody aboard, but she turned out okay, which then introed her into this story.
All right.
Most important, right? Yeah. As long as she survived.
Right. She did learn you don't eat the captain first. That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. I'll write that down next time I'm lost.
Yeah. Words to live by.
Words to live by.
All right. So you don't need to necessarily read Epitaphs from the Abyss number 3 to go into this new series, but really quick, Torma, do we know, is there going to be a way people can read Epitaphs from Abyss number 3 if they want to have that prequel lead into Blood Type?
Yeah, well, everyone should have, if you went to your local comic book shop, which I did for Free Comic Book Day, always the first Saturday in May, we had the Free Comic Book Day Blood Type issue. Yeah, terror in a jugular vein. I love that. But no, this reprinted the entire story from Epitaphs 3. So if you missed out on EC Epitaphs number 3, because I think it's kind of started to go up in price because of that first appearance, we have the Free Comic Book Day issue out there that you can read, get caught up. But like you said, Matthias, even if you didn't get caught up on the Free Comic Book Day issue, even if you're crazy and you missed the EC Epitaphs number 3, you can still hop into Blood Type number 1 and still fall in love with Ada. Do not miss out.
And I will say that Andrea Sorrentino, the artist for the miniseries, did a very inventive way of kind of mixing in a little preview of what the original was on the first couple of pages. So you can get a taste of it in the upcoming number 1. So you won't totally be lost or anything. It's pretty straightforward as it starts. It's a whole new adventure. So
yeah, Sorrentino's artwork is so varied from everything I think we've seen before. Like, it's the first page and then the fourth page, I want to say. But the way they're bouncing them between styles, I'm always impressed with. Like, I can barely draw a cube and then shade that. So like when someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just switch styles," I'm like, "What? Like, what kind of wizardry is this?"
there's a reason I'm a writer, and it's because I saw those pages and I went, I would have never thought of this. This is brilliant, and it's so perfect. And why didn't I think of this? Well, because I'm not him. So
Well, different brains for different folks, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So in Epitaphs, our protagonist has found herself stranded on a life raft, and she's running out of the very life she needs to drain. We hit blood type. What is the story? Why do people need to rush to their store before Monday and let their retailers know they want to pre-order blood type issue number 1?
Well, aside from the gorgeous art, I really wanted to tell a story about a vampire in paradise, as it was. So she's gets stranded on a desert island, which is a resort community. I'm from a little town, which is now a big town, but with white sandy beaches. And I just know that there's a whole lot of darkness and yucky stuff hiding behind some of these things. So, there's nice gleaming resorts. What do those have? They draw rats, So I just thought that there was a lot of story to be told there. And I think that people are going to really dig, especially right now. Perhaps maybe you want to see some rich jerks get their blood drained.
What? Who would want to see that right now? Like, I mean, there are,
like that.
Yeah, I say it all the time. There's not enough rich people in this world,
There really should be more. And, one of them should probably be me because I deserve it more. No, but
no, I love the first issue. It's always refreshing when a character, like a monster or creature, is taken out of their normal sort of hunting ground, like it's not a castle, it's not a city, which is, they're all fine places to be for a monster, but this island resort seems like the perfect, like, all you can eat buffet, for a vampire to just be like, these people are terrible. I eat people and I think these people are terrible, like I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, I had so much fun writing this. And honestly, everybody at Oni has been so wonderful with just putting everything together and making this just such a ride. And I think the full package is so much more than what I could have even in my wildest dreams imagined it to be. Just the cover art is amazing. And the way that the my story has been brought to life is just amazing. I think you'll have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I must say, I love every part of this because it is two very different, themes. You have the dark traditional horror of a vampire story, and Sorrentino's artwork, as you can see on screen right now, definitely captures that. But then you'll also have pages that are every bit the White Lotus-esque beach community, rich and fabulous, beautiful people. And Sorrentino manages to masterfully grab that as well. But one thing that hasn't been talked about that I have to bring to the attention, because this is an EC book, and EC is so renowned for their wonderful horror hosts. You do get a bit of a host throughout Blood Type. Can we talk a little bit about the, I don't know.
Gravedigger.
The Gravedigger, yes. Thank you, Tori.
Yeah. Well, it's nice because, like, the horror hosts, usually they've been on the cover here and they'll introduce the story like in between, right? So whenever we get more into their world, I think is always fun. And even with these little like tidbits, there's such an atmosphere with this introduction, from Sorrentino. It's, I don't know. I love the Gravedigger. I think my favorite of the new hosts, if you had to ask me, is the Tormentor, just because Tormentor. So yeah. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's amazing to be a part of such a landmark like era, I would say, in EC's like history with the new hosts. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I actually loved that I got to use these. It is very much an EC book. I mean, we made very certain that this is an EC, even though it's not one of the short sharp tales, it's a long sharp tale. So
Yeah.
I loved the chance to have Gravedigger, hold a fruity drink, and he still looks very cadaverous, but he's on vacation, but he still has his quips, and I feel like it keeps everything kind of a little lighter, and in the way of the horror is still very bloody and horrible, but it gives it a chance to be a little bit more irreverent, which is a thing I love about EC. And I feel like we've really kept that vibe going here. And he's a big part of that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is really wonderful because you get all the darkness of the horror, but there is moments of light. There's moments of brevity and humor that I love with EC spread throughout. And I mean, when you get a chance to read this, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. There are just moments that, despite the darkness and the horror, you're going to smile, you're going to chuckle to yourself. And I think part of that does come from our wonderful hosts. The thing that I think I'm most excited about, because I remember seeing that very first Epitaphs Dustin Weaver cover revealing all three of our hosts. This is the first one to really, if you're a fan of the hosts, the first story to really kind of give us a bit more personality behind the hosts, correct?
I mean, he's not as a character in the story, but he comes in and comments. And because it's a longer story, you get more of a chance for him to have a little bit more commentary, and you get a little more of him just kind of thinking about the story and being like, yeah, well, boy, she messed up there, or yeah, look what that happened. Or I feel like it's a really fun, unique way to also sort of link the different issues together if you're reading them in issues, which I really hope that you will.
Yeah. So when you were putting this together with the editorial team and everyone else from Oni, did they guide you on how to shape the personality of the Gravedigger, or was that more something that you did with the story?
It's funny. I actually didn't get a ton of notes about Gravedigger. I mean, occasionally they're like, oh, could he maybe be, sitting over here instead? Or sometimes they wanted him to be a little more featured or something. But as far as his dialogue and stuff, I guess he's got a mind of his own, and he came right through, and he was easy to write.
Yeah.
All right. So can you tell us now a little bit more with our protagonist? So she's on a paradise island. Obviously, outside of a little bit of sunlight, it doesn't sound like she has much of a threat, but clearly there's an antagonistic vibe that she has to face. What is the threat to a vampire in paradise in blood type?
Well, it appears there was something already on this island. And at first, it seems like, oh, yeah, what can't I deal with? If I don't like it, I'll just leave. But as we go along, there's definitely a mystery and a very nasty antagonist that runs all the way through. And I don't want to spoil anything too much, but it's something worse than a vampire. So you'll have to stick around. It is something also quite messy. So.
Oh, who doesn't love a good mess,
Oh, yeah. It's my entire, reason for this book is just to make a big mess in paradise.
I love it.
There we go.
I love it.
Ada and the Big Mess in Paradise.
Exactly.
That's the children's book.
Ada, our protagonist.
That's going to be the little golden book.
Yeah. Just knocking over dishes and spilling Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Bananas.
Bananas. Yeah. Oh, so
all
good.
Right. So, I mean, this is exciting. This is the first miniseries, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, Tomer. The first EC miniseries, non-anthology.
Yes, it's the first EC horror miniseries.
All right. That's a big move. And I mean, Karina, you've been doing quite a few big moves on there. I mean, as Tormo pointed out, Epitaphs from the Abyss #3 is skyrocketing in price on the aftermarket. There's a lot of demand. But this isn't the first time you've had a book that the aftermarket has gone insane over. Another book on FOC this week, not from Oni, but from Dark Horse, is Sister Imperator. Can you tell us a little bit about Sister Imperator?
Yeah, that's another book about a woman who chose violence. And I don't know what the vibe is this year that I'm writing books about women who choose violence. I'm certainly very peaceful myself, but maybe it's a good thing I'm a writer. I can put that there. But yeah, this book, what a ride this was too. This is with the band Ghost. So I wrote it with Tobias Forge. And so he had this massive outline of what he imagined the backstory for. He has a lot of lore around the band. And this is Sister's story, which I don't, for fans who have followed all of that lore, she's a very evocative figure, but we didn't know a huge amount about her past and all of this. So this is how she became the woman she became. And she was so much fun to write. There is a circus and there are fast cars and there is a lot of violence and an evil stepfather and everything I could have wanted to write. I had a ball writing this, and I'm really glad people are finally getting to see it.
Yeah, this has been amazing. If you've had the opportunity to grab it, this has been a book that has just flown off shelves. I remember the week of release, issue number 2 was going as high as $75 on the aftermarket. People have been coming out in droves that may not normally go into a comic shop to get this book, which is all the more reason you want to tell your local retailer you want this book before final order cutoff so they can guarantee it is waiting behind the counter for you and not having to chase it down for a high price on the aftermarket. So for those who do not know about the band Ghost or have not yet had the opportunity to read Sister Imperator, can you give us a quick outline of what Sister Imperator is and what the book is about?
Yeah, so she's a character that, as far as in the lore of the band at this moment, she's kind of this very stern, no, I wouldn't say maternal figure, but she's like kind of the power behind the throne. And what she does is sort of tell the clergy, like the band has this lore around the clergy, and they're bringing this message to the masses of be free and be happy and do what you need to do to make your community and this kind of thing, and also with a lot of satanic imagery. So she is this character that you always kind of get these hints through the videos and stuff, that she had a romance with one of the figures, and that grew into what she became, but you don't get how she got there. So this is the story of how she went from just a small town girl and had a lot of trauma, and she used that to find her family, and family in quotes here, because her family turned out to be from a circus in Europe instead of her real family, which was a horrible nest of snakes. So it's about finding the people you connect with and then protecting those people, and finding your voice and making sure that your own smaller members of your family don't end up in the ways that what happened to her. So it's got a sort of a real heart to it, but along the way, also a lot of asses get kicked.
Yeah. Issue number 3 hit this Wednesday. I will be shocked if stores still have it in stock. Hopefully they all have learned from the first 2 issues and ordered up, and everyone is being able or is capable of tracking down this. But this Monday, issue number 4 is on final order cutoff with a release date of June 11th. So this is something you definitely want to reach out to your store, let them know you want. Karina, can you give us a hint of what's coming in issue 4?
Oh gosh. So there is a mystery that will be solved, of course, but also we'll finally find out what the opening number 1 for people that were able to get it. It opens with Sister has tortured and maybe even murdered somebody in a very gruesome way. And the whole book is trying to find out, why did she do this to this old gentleman that seems very God-fearing? And we'll finally find out exactly how that happened and what's next for her. So don't be like me. I managed to, my comps went astray and I had not ordered early enough. And so I have been chasing around trying to find myself copies. So don't be like me. Actually get a copy and order it.
All right. Well, you said something there and it draws attention. I have to ask, because the solicitation that you can see on Previews World says that this is the first chapter of the story coming to a close. But that, of course, insinuates there is more. Is issue number 4 the end of Sister Imperator, or do you have more in store?
You know, I loved this character, and if anybody ever asked me to write more, I would be very happy to. But this is the close of this particular 4-issue arc.
All right. So all the more reason after you read this to let Dark Horse, let Ghost, let everyone know not only is this an amazing comic everyone should be reading, but you guys need Karina back for another story. All right. So we have just all sorts of amazing fun with comics that you have on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. 2 very powerful stories of strong women, as you said, choosing violence. Is there anything that you want to say on that on those themes that you particularly feel, you know, are the tales you want to tell in sequential art?
You know, it's funny because I really am like I'm not personally particularly full of fight in my personal life, but it's really cathartic, I think, to get some of these things out and in fiction and to play out scenarios. And I personally, I love horror. I'm so happy that this year I have 2 horror books that are on the stands virtually at the same time. I hope people respond to them. This is what I really enjoy, telling these stories and just kind of looking at the dark side of things. I feel like it gives us hope for the light.
That is masterfully said. So, Sister Imperator number 4 and Blood Type number 1, both on FOC this Monday. Some incredible covers. I am so excited. I shouldn't say it this way, but I am excited to come to an end with Sister Imperator. And I am glad that at the same time we get the start of an incredible new book from you that will run a number of issues and hopefully might just be the first chapter of Ada as well.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I totally fell in love with her. She just does not care what anybody thinks. And I feel like, yeah, who doesn't love that? I can't do it personally, but I love to explore it in characters.
All right. Karina, you are one of our first guests that we have been able to bring back to Order Up. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh,
but
thank
if anybody wants to find more from you, upcoming series, the potential return of Sister Imperator and more, where can they track you down online?
I'm everywhere that I can be found at Corina Becco. So my name at Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and my I really should update I've been so busy. I haven't updated my website, but it's corinabecco.com.
All right. And we just saw some of those amazing covers. Kyle, would you mind just giving us one last glance at those stunning covers on Blood Type? We really should have been showing those off earlier, but absolutely amazing. Those are some of the issue number 2 covers, the big ratio variants. So let your local comic shop know which covers you want when you tell them that you need a copy of Blood Type in your pull.
And Oni has been doing such an amazing job with these covers. I'm just like, every single one, I'm like, can I frame that one too?
Yeah, I can tell you, you'll have to stay to the end, but one of these covers has made it to our top 10. So something to keep in mind at the end of today's show. So thank you so much for joining us, Karina. I know this is a bit of a last minute one, but always an exciting moment where we get to have you on as a guest. And I cannot wait to have these comics in my hand.
Such a pleasure. And thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to talk about this, and I'm really glad you wanted to.
Yeah. Blood Type. I mean, again, historical moment. EC, one of the biggest publishers in decades. They spent decades being on top 10 lists, always recommended hot comics, even with years upon years of not publishing anything new. And now, over the past 2 years, we've gotten not only brand new EC series, but our very first continuing tale of a single protagonist and plot line. Thanks to Karina. This is amazing. So thank you so much for coming out and joining us. And for everyone at home, get your orders in on Blood Type, issue number 1.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. We're going to pop back over to previewsworld.com/finalordersdue and look over some of the other books on FOC. And we're going to hit it up with Image Comics. Image has a handful of great things after a hot week with massive new title drops from Skybound like Blood and Thunder and Invincible Battle Beast. I mean, Kyle, are you excited about the past week of Image and what is on FOC this Monday?
I haven't picked up my books yet for this week.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm a bad kid. I'm a bad kid. I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot from Image for me for this week. But it is one of the smallest pull list weeks that I've had in a long time. So I actually got caught up on some trade paperbacks that I had missed out on. So me jumping in on other than like Free Planet from last week and a couple of other little things that we have back issues popping up on this week that I had already been reading. It's going to be weird for me to jump back to jump in on some of this stuff. I'll have to pick up second printings.
Yeah. Well, on that note, right off the bat, Blood and Thunder, the brand new book from the mind of Robert Kirkman, is getting a second printing of #1 alongside the issue #2 FOCs. This was a really intense series. I love our, once again, very powerful female protagonists. This is a thing that absolutely excites me because I love badass women. And we have been in an era lately of brilliant, powerful female characters. Very different from the femme fatales of the 90s. They're, really, really solid, entering into horror, sci-fi, and other things, not just, scantily clad, and big guns in, urban settings. So Blood and Thunder is a great one with E.J. Sue, but one I am particularly excited to talk about is Free Planet #2. Now, Free Planet has been a hot new series, already had a sold out #1 first printing with a second printing on the way from Aubrey Sitterson and Jed Doherty. I've been texting Aubrey just so I got approval. I can even show you an interior page right here from the upcoming issue #2. This book is insane. I mean, Kyle can tell you because not only did he get a handful of copies, he got that rare 1 in 50 of #1. But this tells a sci-fi political thriller drama with high action set in a world in a galaxy far, far away. I have to watch my trademark infringement of quoting Star Wars references there. But of a world where the government has made a free planet, quite literally living up to the name, and all the difficulties with that, because establishing a new government, trying to convince people of these change and what it means to have a free government and way of life across an entire planet, while still trying to keep everyone safe, protected, make sure everyone has equal rights, etc. It is not an easy thing. Aubrey clearly has done a ton of incredible research on this, and this is a stunning book. But for those of you guys who are big collectors hunters, I want to point out there is a major first appearance in issue #2. So if you're somebody who wants those, this is going to be the first appearance of Jackson Crater. He's one of the valiant freedom fighters and a bloodthirsty terrorist. But what he truly is, you'll need to pick up the issue and find out. So Free Planet #2 has 2 incredible covers. You're going to not want to miss out on this. If you loved issue #1, you need issue #2. Hopefully, if you missed out on issue #1's first printing, you already have that order in with your local comic shop for the second printing. If not, let them know along with which cover you're going to want. I mean, Kyle, obviously, I know you have first printings. Did you place an order for the second printing?
I did. I didn't go quite as heavy on second printings, and I didn't go quite as heavy on #2 as I did on #1s. But I will tell you, the Jed Doherty, the B cover, is my favorite of #2. I just really like that look. It's kind of got a style that I can appreciate. on that cover. So that's the one I actually ordered up on for Free Planet number 2.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love is Aubrey and Jed have both clearly pulled from various histories of our real world. And I mean, you can see concepts of uprisings and cultural influence there. And I really feel the B cover does a lot that, just it has that very South American, Caribbean vibe of a revolution. And it's beautiful. It is just a masterpiece. I think this book is going to just continue making waves. It'll end up on a 1,000,001 top 10 lists at the end of the year. Like, this is an awesome piece of storytelling.
Yeah, Jed's ability to change his art style as it fits the different covers and then the different settings inside really does lend itself to this book and the kind of storytelling they're doing.
Now, going to a different tale, we've talked about various badass women in comics. I think one that I'm a little hyped on is the upcoming Gehenna Naked Aggression. For fans of Gun Honey and Heat Seeker, I think this will be quite the interesting book, a 4-issue miniseries from Patrick Kindle. This is going to be your sexy James Bond female protagonist in high action, as basically a hit contract has been on this woman for ages. Organization after mercenary group after mafia have turned down this contract, not being able to fulfill it. And finally, our protagonist has reached a point where she wants to put an end to the contract on her. So how is that going to happen? You're going to have to read the comic to find out. But there are some stunning covers, a who's who of modern indie comics. Even Maria Lovett doing an amazing, mature, polybagged risque cover. But this, I think this is going to be a fun one. I mean, I always love the hard case, Gun Honey and Heat Seeker items from Titan. So I'm curious what we can see with Image on this.
Well, and the thing that people on the experience know about me when we talk about Hard Case and Gun Honey is I don't like a book that has more boobs than words.
Yeah.
And sometimes those books get a little close. Gehenna is not going to be that way. Kindle is a good writer and he's often wordy. So you're going to get a lot of great dialogue to go with the stunning imagery. That is certainly going to be in this book. And that Maria Lovett variant is too hot for television. I will say that.
Yep. There's a reason we have a heart over it. Yeah, I mean, I love Maria Lovett stuff from Faithless through Loud, countless projects over the years. She only gets better as she continues on. So that, I'm sure, if you want the risque covers, that's the way to go. Then Ghost Machine fans, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Geiger is going to come to a explosive battle between the hot new glowing woman and our Geiger himself. Tariq and Ashley are all out. And let me tell you, this is going to be a explosive issue. If the cover doesn't show it well enough, an explosive issue. I love that wraparound on this. I believe this Hitch's cover.
Yeah, that's Brian Hitch.
Yeah, Brian Hitch. Yeah, but beautiful.
Brian Hitch and Brad Anderson. Sorry.
Yeah. I got the chance to read this issue a little bit earlier. This is the issue. Even if you haven't read the first miniseries or 14 issues of Geiger, grab issue 15. This is big. This is awesome. And the covers that you're seeing aren't misleading. It's a badass. I hate that I keep using that word, but it is a brawl in this issue that has me excited. You are not going to want to miss out on two radioactive beasts going blow to blow with the fate of humanity, arguably in the crosshairs.
Absolutely. And don't miss the C cover, the Julia Innes Mamone cover, which is it features her. Which is, I think it's a gorgeous cover in and of itself. I read this. I didn't get to finish it this morning after Danny, shout out Danny Ward, sent it to me. but I have been a little lax on my Geiger reading. I've got them all. I just am not caught up. But I read this one, and I have to go back and read back. But I feel like this is even a good place to jump in, even if you don't know what's going on, just because of the sheer action adventure of it all.
Tell you, man, that double page splash.
Right?
Yeah. And if you don't know what we're talking about, which most of you won't, it's all the more reason you want to reach out and make sure you have a copy. This is a big and awesome book.
Makes me wish I could afford Gary Frank original pages.
Absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of fun coming from Image. Another big one we got to talk about is the return of I Hate Fairyland. Scotty Young is back with a brand new story arc and a new artist assisting him on this. Derek Loffman is coming in to take over from Brett Bean, who did an epic series for the previous volume of I Hate Fairyland, and we're going back to the original legacy numbering. So this is issue number 41, but it is the start of the newest volume, the newest story arc, and it's going to lead us to the big issue 50, issue 50. I mean, what's not to love? Outside of being one of the denizens of Fairyland, that Gertrude is just putting through a bloody ringer.
True. And as always, your boy will be collecting the B covers almost exclusively because he likes the word fork, and the goriness of the B covers is always great on these. Not for children.
Yes. Despite Fairyland, hating Fairyland is not an all ages adventure.
Yeah, I have been collecting the Flock Fairyland covers for since issue 1, since the first time they started doing them. So I will continue to be collecting those as well. This is one that you can't go wrong on, guys. Pick up one of each and set one aside and read the other, and you'll be a happy camper. Trust me.
Absolutely. And if you're really lucky, you want to reach out to your local comic shop and ask them if they're getting the 1 in 25 ratio variant by Scotty Young himself. Scotty started doing these 1 in 10 and 1 in 25 ratio variants back on the previous volume of I Hate Fairyland around issue 16, I want to say. And they have skyrocketed in value. Ultra demand, very hilarious and mature covers. Totally on brand because, of course, Scotty's doing them. But not every comic shop will qualify for those. And those that do are probably going to ask a pretty penny because they are, once again, huge pieces on the aftermarket that Scotty Young collectors of all kinds want to grab. So let your local comic shop know you want this, especially if you want both covers or multiple copies, and then ask them about that 1 in 25 variant. All right. Speaking of things, we hope that you guys all listen to us on Invincible Universe Battle Beast.
They didn't.
Oh, I mean, I feel I didn't. I thought, you know what? I'm going to order 400 copies of the blind bag of number 1. It's too many, but it'll work out. I sold out of 400 copies before the halfway point of Wednesday this week. And I'm certain I'm not alone. I know a ton of you retailers also did that, and a ton of you consumers wish you would have been able to get more. So this is why we want to emphasize Invincible Universe Battle Beast number 1 is getting a second printing with 3 awesome new covers. There's no blind bags this time, but you can choose the cover you want and make sure that you get it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that they just copied and pasted this. There is no cover C blind bag. Please ignore that outdated piece of detail there. But yeah, 3 new covers for the second printing. I mean, I own copies. I'm still going to buy all of these new covers because there is nothing greater in the universe than Battle Beast.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in those of you out there in Watcher land, and also those of you out here in retail land who watch the show and who are like, I think I'm going to order conservatively, or I'm not going to call my local comic shop and tell them I want a blind bag. What are you doing? We told you. We warned you.
Yeah.
Just say it.
I got to say, even thinking I was over ordering it, like I guarantee I can relate to any retailer who is bummed out that they are sold out, because I thought I ordered big. I looked at my my pre-orders and I went well beyond that. And
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just giving everybody a hard time. Like, there was no way to predict the success of this book, even though we totally predicted it a month ago. Like the fact that, again, we totally were like, this is going to be one of the hottest books, and then you didn't order enough just shows how far off even our prediction was.
Yeah.
So this book is super hot. It isn't my jam, but even I picked up a blind bag. I don't generally buy blind bags unless they're like on the Maria Lovett book we just talked about, where they're blind bags because you know what's behind them. I don't generally go in for that kind of game, but even I picked up a Battle Beast blind bag.
What'd you get in your blind bag?
I didn't open it.
Oh, you haven't opened it? Oh,
not gonna.
That is a Schrodinger's cat comic right now. You know, that could be anything. It could be, I mean, maybe it's an original sketch by Ryan Otley or a 1 in 1,000 variant.
Not gonna.
There it is. All right.
I'm gonna let it go up and up and up and up and up, and then in 20 years I'll sell it.
There you go.
I mean, look at what Invincible #1s go for now. If I would have had the forethought to put one away when I owned one, like, as a retailer, sometimes you got to sell your own collection. And that's what I'm doing. Like, this is one of those things that I bought it and I put it in my collection with the rest of my Invincible run. And I'll hold on to it for a while. And then eventually I'll sell my own collection and I'll move it. Like, I'm not doing it as an investment. I'm not doing it speculatively. I'm doing it on I wanted one, but I don't want to know what's in it.
See, I mean, you know, you are the mystery box chooser, you know. It's
right.
Like, you have the boat, you could have the mystery box. You go with the mystery box because it could be a boat.
It's true.
All right. So ones that you don't have to take a risk on, Local Man, the award-winning series nominated for an Eisner from Tony Fleeks and Tim Seeley. Local Man is everything you loved about 90s superheroes and Image Comics brought to the modern era. I love Local Man to death, and there is a hardcover with absolutely everything in it right now on FOC for $60. A steal of a deal. There are incentives you're going to want to talk to your local retailer about that could potentially get you signed copies, that could get you alternate dust jacket covers. Talk to your retailer about what you can get, but definitely place an order for Local Man. It is a phenomenal series. I want this to sell gangbusters because I want Tony and Tim to return to the series with more content, because I just can't imagine a future without more Local Man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, of course, there's some Transformers stuff, you know,
well,
whether you like it.
That was something I wanted to mention. You know, we talked at the beginning of the Image section about, you know, there wasn't a lot out there for me this week, so I picked up some trade paperbacks. Well, one of them was finally getting caught up on Transformers because your dude was an idiot and missed it at the beginning. So I've been way behind. I'm finally caught up now that I've got all the trades, and I knew where the third trade ended and started buying the single issues. So I'm finally caught up on Transformers. So I'm excited to finally be able to go to my LCS on Sunday and be like, hey, I want to order this one ahead of time.
I mean, you know, the solicitation says it all. It's the face-off you've wanted. Optimus Prime and Spoiler. Now, Kyle's caught up. He knows who the Spoiler is. But this is the battle any Transformers fan since the 1980s has wanted to have a big visual epic. And Daniel Warren Johnson, I assure you, is the man to write it. I love this A cover that Daniel did. It is phenomenal. But yeah, the big battle. It's finally here, issue 21. And
it's time they put Grimlock in this book.
But if that level of action is too much for you, you want to tone it down, order this incredible original graphic novel, Transformers: The Worst Bot Ever. This is just going to be a fun one. You know, ballpoint. You know, he transforms directly into what you'd imagine a pen. Quite the utensil to use. It's funny. It's goofy. If you didn't grab the free comic book day preview of this, you probably don't realize how much you need this, because this is all ages fun. You can hand to a kid, but you can be a kid of the 80s that grew up on Transformers and love this just as much now I'm not going to say how old we are in the modern day, but this is not just a fun book for kids. Transformers, worst spot ever. All right. I think we need to do a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back with Marvel, Boom, and more.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience. Sure, comic books are beautiful, but underneath, there's something more authentic and exciting. The original art. See the pencils, the lines, the shading, as if you were there in the studio watching the artist work. Getting a peek at comics' backstage is easy with the original art experience.
All right, Friday night, guys. Thank you for being here. To be doing anything, the fact that you're here means the world to me.
Nick's pieces are always value priced with your budget in mind, for the beginning collector to the veteran.
And this is gorgeous. You got Aquaman and Mira.
Join the original art experience with Nick and our friendly crew of regulars, even if it's just to enjoy the art. Fridays at 7. It's all part of the experience.
We're back with all the incredible books that are on Final Order Cutoff May 19th, this coming Monday. Again, as always, there are a million incredible books on FOC every Monday. So you want to check out previewsworld.com/finalordersdue or lunardistribution.com so you can look them all over. But we're going to really quickly talk about just the big ones. Starting with Marvel, always the big deep breath because there's a lot of stuff at Marvel. But a lot of continuing series. Aliens versus Avengers #4, the final issue from Jonathan Hickman, finally on FOC. Things like Amazing Spider-Man continuing. We got to point out those Marvel rival covers. Peach Momoko has new skins on the popular video game that's going to drive all of the video game fans into comic shops to grab these rare variants, no matter what book they're on. So definitely worth paying attention to. The big first one, though, of Marvel is Bring on the Bad Guys. Bring on the Bad Guys is a new series of one-shots from Mark Guggenheim. They're going to focus on various villains of the Marvel Universe. 7 in total. The first one is the one you all wanted, because we clearly aren't getting enough Doom in our lives lately. It's Doom, #1. One Marvel summer event wasn't enough. Throwing him in as the antagonist of almost every Marvel book individually, and then giving him a 12.5 one-shots and miniseries, nowhere near enough Doom in your life. Bring on the Bad Guys Doom #1 with a stunning Lee Bermejo cover, and that's just one of many. I mean, could you ask for more Doom, Kyle?
I mean, you could, but you wouldn't want to.
Yeah. But I am excited about it. Speaking of that, I got to stress it again. For you Marvel Rivals fans or people who are trying to figure out what to read with Marvel Rivals, the One World Under Doom crossover, Doom's Division, is going to have your Agents of Atlas, including Luna Snow and other characters that are hard to find in other comics. This is a great one to read. But if we need a Fantastic Four character that's not Doom, let's talk a bit about this Doomsday-esque facsimile edition of Fantastic Four 49. All 3 parts of the Galactus trilogy are getting facsimiles. This is the second part, the big Galactus moment. So do not skip on this. Even if you own a copy, it's worth so much nowadays. It's probably worth having the facsimile to flip through. Kyle, do you own a copy of this?
Couple.
Wow.
In fact, I was just digging through my short box right here, and I think I have one that I actually have. I think I have enough that I have a copy for sale.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk on that one.
Oh, it's not in good shape.
Oh, that's my favorite type of thing. I like reader copies. What can I say?
I wouldn't touch it. I'll be honest. No, this is one of those Fantastic Four, something that I've got a near complete run on. I'm missing like 1, 2, and 3, and a couple in the teens. But I love Fantastic Four so much, and this is one of my favorite issues ever. A facsimile edition is the only way most people are going to be able to get this book. I was lucky enough that my first copy came off the newsstand when my grandfather bought it for my dad. So, like, it's one of those sort of situations. But no, this is a super fun story. Great Doomsday. And I'll be honest, or great Galactus story. But I'll be honest, I think it's one of the most underrated Silver Surfer stories in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So your Norrin Rad fans need to get on it.
Yeah, I am. I mean, especially with the upcoming death of Silver Surfer comics that are on were on FOC in previous weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great continuing series. You're going to want to check out previousworld.com/final orders due to see them all. But the next big one, obviously, is the biggest. It's the God of Thunder versus the King of all monsters, Godzilla versus Thor. If that cover alone doesn't sell it to you.
I haven't been following this fully. Does Godzilla still have the symbiote in this story?
Well, I can't say that I have already read this one shot, so who knows?
I'm just saying, like, Godzilla got the symbiote from Spider-Man, so you have Venomzilla, or, what do they call it? God Venom or whatever.
God
but
Venom.
I always thought Venzilla was a better idea. But feature against Thor could be a good time.
I'm excited. I mean, so let's assume there's no symbiote involved. Who do you think wins in this? Because, I mean, it's a god, but then it's Godzilla.
Where are they fighting? Are they on Asgard? If they are, I give the edge to Thor. If they're on
Midgard.
Earth, I give the edge to Godzilla. If they're on one of the other realms, I think it's probably a draw.
Okay, so this is going to take place on Midgard. So Godzilla, you're putting your money down on Godzilla.
Yeah, on Earth, yeah, Godzilla. I would say on Jotunheim though, it's totally a draw.
Okay, I want to hear what everyone else says. Get your opinion. Who is the winner in the comment? We'll come back to this in July, and we'll see who is right. I mean, I as much as I want to give it to Godzilla, I do love Godzilla. He's got the 4 extra letters or 5 extra letters after God that Thor doesn't have. I think there's something about Mjolnir. Is it 5?
Thor has of thunder after God. So that's like 9 more letters.
This is how we math out. This is how you determine battles. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Las Vegas. There's somebody out there counting the letters.
Although, is Godzilla worthy?
Ooh.
Because Godzilla with the hammer, I would pay to see that movie. Anyway, on this book, we could talk about this. This is the kind of thing Mathias and I can talk about for hours. Like, there are so many nuances that we would dredge up from, like, way back in the old Toho black and white movies. Like, you know, things that nobody has thought about in 50 years. But for me, guys, this is maybe the best of the Lee Garbett versus variants, which are what I'm collecting from this run. So just know that that's out there. The Lee Garbett versus variants have been great, but all the covers on this are super fun. But this feels to me like more of a traditional wrestling poster as opposed to a boxing poster. You know, this feels like Andre the Giant versus somebody else. Okay. So we lost Mathias. He did something and disappeared. So in the meantime, I'm going to tell you guys about some other stuff that I'm excited about on FOC. You have to share your screen again, buddy.
Yep. No. I was stupid. I clicked on that cover and I said, man, I just want to look at it close up, and I may have accidentally clicked away. It's a good cover. It really is. You know, you can't fault me. I mean, you can totally
but while he's doing that, guys, I want to throw out a pitch for Power Man Timeless. Not something we would generally cover here on the show. That book has gotten really good, and it's a really great Luke Cage representation. So if you're not reading that one, check that one out as well. But yeah, let's just continue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Power Man Timeless, the penultimate issue. Wonderful Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. We've had them on the show before. That is a incredible one. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Next up, though, we got to talk about the big new Star Wars book. We just had Star Wars #1, the first Star Wars ongoing ever to take place post Return of the Jedi. I mean, you could argue, obviously, back in the day at Dark Horse, we had Star Wars Legacy that took place after, but almost everything's been miniseries. This is the first one to take place with Luke, Han, Leia, etc. But now we have another fun new ongoing, Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent. So we know that Dr. Aphra survives Endor, is post Return of the Jedi. Cherish Chen is going to bring us the new adventures of Dr. Aphra, which, you know, could set up and bring her into a Mandalorian and Ahsoka era. So this has me excited. I'm really, really curious where this is going to go. And Dr. Aphra, as you can see on the cover, bumps into Luke once again. It's going to be an interesting tale. I'm excited. But Gabriel Guzman doing that artwork, EJ Sue cover, but there's quite a few amazing covers for Dr. Aphra, depending on what you want, including foil covers and, you know, the 10th anniversary Force Awakens, which has perhaps my favorite, you know, little Han Solo and Chewbacca moment, because you get the cast of my favorite aged characters, Carrie, Harrison. You've got C-3PO and Chewbacca on there. It's just a great cover. So another one I want to point out, final issue, if you haven't been reading this, Weapon X-Men. Joe Casey came back to the X-Men with a force, basically the X-Force, and it has been phenomenal every issue. You can grab issues 1 through 3 in your store right now. Issue 4 comes out this coming Wednesday, and get your orders in for issue number 5 this Monday. This is just action-packed awesomeness from Joe Casey and Chris Cross.
Chris Cross make my people want
to. Now we're defining ourselves in the 80s. A lot of wonderful books from Marvel. Don't forget to miss them out. But let's talk Dynamite. Dynamite is back on FOC after the incredible second issue of Red Sonja versus Army of Darkness. Ashley Williams and Red Sonja are back with an issue number 3 on FOC. The thing I'm most excited about, though, is the return of Zootopia. It has been way too long since the last issue, but we're continuing after the first movie. You have Nick Fox now as a police officer along Judy Hopps. It's just fun, you know.
I'll be honest.
I didn't realize how much I wanted a Zootopia too.
I'll be honest. In terms of great mystery books right now, Dick Tracy, Zootopia.
Yeah.
Like this has
all.
been an actually really good mystery book that is accessible to all ages.
I think this is great for Jeff Parker. This is Jeff
Yeah.
Parker just at his best.
Yeah, like this is one of those books that I can read and get something out of, and I can read it to my 4-year-old nephew and he gets something out of, and it really does play on all of those levels. It's not too adult like a lot of the like a lot of the Dynamite books would be, and it's not too kiddie like a lot of the maybe the Disney IDW stuff would be, or the what was it, Disney Dark Horse stuff, where it's really kid centric. This is right in that middle ground, and it's really nice. I will say my favorite cover on this one is the Craig Rousseau color bleed right there. It's reminiscent of the John Tyler Christopher negative space variants. These have been really fun on this book as well. So,
yeah, Craig has been doing an amazing job on every single one of these. I loved his Lilo and Stitch ones. They really captured my attention. So I love that he's keeping this theme alive over at Zootopia.
Mm-hmm.
All right, diving into the indie books. There's a lot of continuing stuff that, you probably know what we're talking about at this point in time. Some amazing tie-in books. But one of the big ones I want to point out is the first FOC, well, technically second FOC of Distillery, now over at Penguin Random House. So for consumers, if you've been wondering why it's been a while since you've seen a Distillery book, they've changed distributors from Diamond to Penguin Random House. Whether you're a retailer, you can continue buying your books through Diamond, or you can get them direct from Penguin Random House. But Distillery is back, and we finally have a new issue of Life, which is the crazy flip book that has one side written by Brian Azzarello, then you flip it over, and the other side is written by Stephanie Phillips. It is an awesome book. I'm glad to finally have a new issue, and it's the penultimate issue of this 6-issue miniseries. Another one that I am excited about. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna stop you before we get to we're talking about Life. Before we get to Never Wars.
Okay.
Metal Harlant right there from Fantagraph, from Humanoids. Guys, if you don't know Metal Harlant was Humanoids before Humanoids. It's an anthology book, mostly Euro works. So it's stuff you don't get here, but it's some of the most interesting, I think, storytelling happening outside of the mainstream. But one of the things, the reason I want to point this one out, the James Stocco story, Matt Fraction and Carla Pacheco stories in here. But this issue also features Durf Backdurf, Matthew Allison, Fred Blanchard, just a ton of Jean-Claude Gall, who, if you're familiar with French comics at all, you'd be like, oh my God. Humberto Rios, Sugar Francois, Choutine. Again, a lot of these people who are working in that Euro sector who maybe aren't getting the rub they need in the United States, or they should get in the United States. This is an opportunity for them. But this is, guys, this is a $30 book that's over 272 pages.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a 275 page, 276 page book for $30. It's got archival material from the 80s, 70s, and 80s, plus new stories. So this is one for me that is a must-have.
Yeah. If you have ever loved heavy metal and you want more, this is heavy metal. And look, I get it. Heavy metal just relaunched with the new #1. I picked it up and it was awesome. Man, the John Reppian and Leah Moore story, phenomenal. But I want more, and this is where I'm going to find more. Still grab your heavy metal each month, but Metal Hurlant, I think, is going to be just a brilliant piece. I mean, where else are you getting Mobius?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are people that you got to be a little bit inside to know who they are working on this book. This is my, hey, come through this door and check this stuff out, guys, kind of, wave. So.
All right. Now for something very different, but also very European.
Now for something completely different.
Yeah, we now have 3 different Never Wars books hitting on one FOC. Now, what is Never Wars and why does it matter? Never Wars takes your trio of great heroes of early 20th century prose and brings them into another part of the early 20th century, World War I. We get Dorothy of Oz. We get Georgie of Through the Looking Glass, or what is Through the Looking Glass? It is Wonderland.
Yep.
And we get Peter Pan of Neverland, all in World War I, a little bit older, as they are sucked into their fantasy lands from the insanity that is trench warfare, the nursing of France and Germany and England and more. Like, this is a surprisingly brilliant and amazing series just from the get-go of these 3 number ones. So we started off with Never Wars Dorothy. Dorothy is a nurse serving overseas in World War I. You have Georgie in Wonderland, obviously, another, military member serving in the trench warfare. And then Peter Pan in the Air Force. These are all beyond exciting, and it takes a really unique look at these classic fantasy tales we all grew up on and love, and throwing it into a very intense, combined theater of war, if I can be so literal. You're going to get everything from Cheshire Cats and Jabberwockies, Flying Monkeys and Yellow Brick Roads, Captain Hook, and more, with German, World War I tanks. It's crazy. It is crazy. It is awesome. It's not something you want to miss out on, but it is not something that all your retailers are likely to stock up without you letting them know.
Yeah,
So
this is one of those that if you don't pre-order this, the odds of your retailer having it in stock is probably slim.
Yeah.
But it's something that more retailers, I think, should be taking a chance on. So by you ordering them, maybe it'll wise them up a little bit.
Yeah. It's Amp Comics. It's got me excited. I'm really curious to see where this is going, but I'm happy to give it a shot. As somebody who's read the first 3 one-shots, you're going to be surprised. It's going to amaze you. I'm going to say it. This is what I was always hoping Xenoscope's Grim Fairy Tales would be. I don't want to speak ill of Xenoscope's Grim Fairy Tales, but this is what I actually wanted. These are these classic fantasy characters put into a unique, I don't want to say outright mature storyline, but definitely darker tales that tie them together and make for incredibly interesting storytelling, far different from what they came from, but holding all of the core concepts I loved from Peter Pan, from The Wizard of Oz, and from Through the Looking Glass and Alice in Wonderland. So I am excited on that. So last big indie one before we switch over to Lunar Distribution I want to talk up is issue 4 of Star Wars Bad Batch. Because much like the most recent season of Bad Batch, enter Asajj Ventress, one of the coolest former Jedi / pseudo Sith characters out there. I think this is going to draw a lot of attention. She just had that big premiere in what was it, Tales from the Underworld?
Yes, something like that.
Star Wars Tales from the Underworld on Disney Plus. We had a powerful season of Bad Batch with her in it, and now we're getting even more Asajj Ventress stories in the comics with Michael Morecki writing. I think this is going to be awesome, and I think it's going to draw a lot of attention. But
Good. No, real fast. Another book I want to point out that's on FOC this week. It's a hardcover, and a softcover. TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 1 Return to New York. You have the library edition and the regular edition of this is the first volume of Jason Aaron's TMNT with Joel Jones being released in trade and hardcover. The library editions, guys, are gorgeous copies of this book. gorgeous printings. They're a little more expensive. I mean, $50 compared to $20, but very worth it if you're a hardcore Turtles fan. And
or a hardcover collector.
Or a hardcover collector. But I also want to use this moment to market this. Monday night, 9 to 11 here on the EXP. Second shift lunch with Jay and I. We are doing an all Turtles sale. Everything will be TMNT. Every single book we offer for the whole 2 hours will be TMNT. And you will have the opportunity during that show, if you buy a Turtles book that Tim Waltz worked on, to pre-order a signature from Tim Waltz from the private signing I'm doing with him next weekend. So get that in this week.
No, that's awesome. So, all right, guys, we're going to pop over to lunardistribution.com. Once again, you will be greeted with a wonderful webpage like this. You can scroll on down to upcoming FOC. Make sure you're on May 19th, 2025, or whatever Monday it is you're watching this. And look at all these amazing books. Absolute Batman getting new printings, but the big thing is, quite literally the big thing on the cover, Bane. I thought Bruce was big in the Absolute Universe, but they decided Bane's got to be bigger. So brand new story arc. Scott Snyder is continuing to kick it up with Nick Dragotta on this. I cannot wait to see Absolute Bane. I mean, if Bruce Wayne is the type of guy to kick babies in the Absolute Universe, what is Bane gonna be?
He gonna eat them.
There it is. So
Bane is the chupacabra.
Yeah. There it is. A lot of great continuing series. Normally, I wouldn't have to talk up Action Comics, but I'm going to talk up Action Comics because Mark Waid is finally on Action Comics with 1087 as the start of this new run, and we're going to go back to Action Comics being about Superboy. Clark Kent, a.k.a. Kal-El, in his youth. These are the early days of Superman putting on the cape and the shorts, quite literally. It's going to be fun in Smallville and around the world. Yes, we will have Crypto. Skylar Partridge doing awesome artwork on this. I'm excited. It's been a while since we've had a Superboy story that's like classic Superboy. Don't get me wrong. I love my, Jonathan Kent. I love my Connor Kent. But having Clark Kent in his youth and that like almost Archie vintage mentality, growing up, I loved reading Superboy comics, adventure comics, things like that. So this is going to be really exciting. And you know that Mark Waid loves and adores Superman like no one else. So this is going to be filled with Easter eggs, classic references, and yet good, wholesome storytelling. So
yeah. And every cover on this book, I would say is good. There's one I don't like, but I won't name it out loud. But every cover on this book is pretty good. So check that out for sure. Make sure you get the cover you want by ordering it ahead of time. Yeah,
absolutely. Some wonderful facsimiles and continuing series coming out. Both Batman #9 and Batman Madness, part of the Long Halloween universe and era, getting new facsimiles. You can see all of the Blood and Thunder covers there. Remind yourself, while you can see everything on Previews World, I always advise taking a look at Lunar to see Image as well, because that is the main distributor for Image Comics nowadays.
Right. And like we talked earlier with Dark Regards, there are 2 covers on Lunar that are not listed on Previews World, and there they are.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Like that wonderful 1 in 10 right there on Dark Regards.
Well, the 1 in 10 is the full art, and then the 1 in 20 Brian Level Eddie from
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, yep. Homage.
Yeah. Obviously, Blood Type. You can see all the covers again there. Absolutely brilliant. A huge thanks to Karina Becco coming out and talking to us about it. I am so excited for that book. It is going to be awesome. I've already read issue #1, and it is awesome, let me tell you. I also want to point out that we're getting a great revival of Etrigan. Not only is Etrigan in Batman and Robin, but now he's in Fire and Ice on FOC this week. If we can get that rhyming demon that is Jack Kirby's greatest creation, I said it, back in more books, I will never say no.
Not going to argue with you on that one.
I was waiting for you to argue with me on there. I'm appreciative of it because it doesn't beat the Demon Etrigan. Jason Blood is my hero.
Nope, I'm good with that.
There it is. But yeah, DC actually has a much calmer week. A lot of continuing series, some great covers. They really have become the new dynamite in just shoving a million covers on things, but they're great covers.
I wouldn't say that out loud, but yeah.
If you guys didn't get a chance to read Rick Remender and Brian Posehn's classic 80s tale of skateboarding and just 80s summer lifestyle, Grommets has finally got a trade paperback with 2 covers. There is the traditional cover by Brett Parsons, but I love the that was the book plate. I love the direct market exclusive cover. That is like 80s dream childhood right there, to be, riding the half pipe in the air like that. So that'll be
absolutely fun. Although I think that's a pool anyway.
Pool half pipe. I got there. By the way, there's
the Scotty Young 1 in 25 we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's not at all a dig at Nintendo or anything. There is no Princess Zelda that's gonna miss out on her happiness in Hyrule because of this cover. Let's just hope she doesn't stick that sword in the stone and end up jumping back to her future self.
That would be such a Scotty Young thing to do too.
Yeah. But a lot of great continuing series. Lost Fantasy, you cannot deny the beauty of that Berserker homage. Wonderful manga series getting a great nod, as Lost Fantasy is just, I hope everyone that's watching this has grabbed issue number 1 and loved it as much as I did. Kurt Piers has just made something fun there. Literally, John Constantine meets like Cloud from Final Fantasy. And then you get this Berserker homage that just adds to it. I'm excited. Money Shot back with issue 2. I'm a huge fan of Garth Graham's Barsoom-esque mature web series. So it is cool to see Garth doing this book with Tim Seeley and Patton Oswalt. Of course, I grabbed the Sex Criminals homage of number 1. I'm assuming you did too, Kyle. But yeah, Money Shot, if you want something very mature, and this is that, very mature, this is a hilarious book. It's Idiocracy with sex and sci-fi. Obviously, more than Neverwheres. You can see their 1 in 5 incentive variants. Hopefully, your local comic shop is getting it. You should always ask, but they are stunning wraparound covers. I'm going to show you really quickly the Dorothy cover just because it is awesome. But we'll talk more about that when we get to our top 10. Great books that are on FOC this week. The last ones I really, really want to talk about, though, are Supergirl. Sorry, not the last one. The penultimate one. Supergirl, number 1 hit this week. I'm hoping no one slept on it. We talked it up a few weeks ago. It is a great all-ages book. And by all-ages book, I mean you can hand it to a young child and they will love it. And you can be a fan of DC who's been reading Supergirl or Superman since the foundation of Action Comics, at which point credit given to you for still reading comics. And you will still enjoy the Supergirl series. This is all sorts of fun from Sophie Campbell. It's exciting. And now we get to find out with issue number 2, who is this new Supergirl that is taking the title away from our traditional protagonist. We get more amazing covers from, Homer, Sawi, Art Germ, Mercandolfo, and more. All sorts of fun. But the big one I want to talk about, and I'm not even going to talk about it with the cover you're currently seeing on screen, is the daughter of Wonder Woman, Trinity. Trinity is back with a new series from Tom King and Belen Ortega. I've loved everything we've gotten from Trinity, from Wonder Woman 800 through all those cute little flashback stories in the start of the Wonder Woman run of Tom King's, where it's a young Trinity as she is being raised by the various Robins and Superboy. This comic is a masterpiece, But the one that does it for me like nothing else is that Crisis on Infinite Earths homage, because this is the comic you're reading. You're going to get young Girl Wonder, I believe was her title in this, but Trinity and all of the cute corgis. Like, Kyle, did you get a chance to flip through this first issue in advance?
I didn't, no. And I'll be honest, when you told me we were talking about Trinity, I had all the things queued up from the book where it was Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman working together, Trinity. Not Trinity, the daughter of Wonder Woman, Trinity. So I'm in my brain, I'm trying to go through the Rolodex and be like, what do I know about this one?
Oh.
This is the thing. Yeah. Like, about when we're doing this show, guys, is that sometimes DC manages to surprise me. And this is one of those things. So I love Tom King. The Balin Ortega art looks great. This Lucas Meyer homage to Crisis on Infinite Earths cover is killer. There's nothing to not love about this book, including the corgis, even though those dogs are jerks. But I was totally prepared to talk about the crossover team up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cool thing is there is a bit of a crossover. The one cool thing about this is you're going to get Trinity from all the various key points of her life that we've seen her so far. And if you don't know who Trinity is, this is the book you want to get to learn about her. It's a 6-issue miniseries, but you're going to get young Trinity as you see her there. You know, a young girl with her pet corgis that are Batman and Superman. You're going to get teenage Trinity, you know, who's coming into her role as Wonder Girl. And you're going to get adult Trinity in her Wonder Woman form. All of this is going to be amazing. And in there, it is going to grab your heart. You're going to laugh. You're going to giggle. You're going to gasp. It is amazing. If you've been loving Tom King's Wonder Woman, you have to get this. But if any of these covers remotely seem appealing to you, let me tell you, this is one of those times you can judge a book by the cover. You may not have these artists doing the interiors, but you do have these moments. I think this cover kind of captures it best. Dan Mora always doing that. You're going to get Trinity through the ages in a fun book. Once again, I don't get to say this enough, but it feels like it's all I'm saying lately on the show. This is a book you can hand to somebody who's a younger reader. This is a book you can hand to somebody who's an older reader that's been reading comics for ages. This is a book you can hand to somebody who has not yet read a comic. And I love that we're in an era where you can say these things, because there are many decades of comic history where you couldn't. And this has the excitement that I think will get more people into comics, enjoying comics, or reminded how much they loved comics. And I applaud Tom King for that. He has been doing a phenomenal job over the past few years with his writing. Balin Ortega's artwork is so heartwarming and amazing. This is a big one for me. Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman. We talked about some badass women in comics earlier on the show, and I'm not going to devalue Trinity, not saying she's not a badass, but she's just also an amazing character, and Tom King writes some amazing stories with her. So this is the book for everyone. Everyone. You need to tell your retailer, I want Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman. You choose the cover you want. They're all great, but you need this book. Got it there, Kyle? We good? Do you agree? No?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah. So all sorts of fun. I really wish the 1 in 25 and the 1 in 50 were open orders. If you have the money and your local comic shop is getting it, clearly worth purchasing, but not every shop is going to get it. Hopefully every shop will, because hopefully every comic shop is ordering 1 million copies. But I understand the economics of comic retailing, so fully respect and understand if your shop isn't able to, but it's worth reaching out and asking. With that said, those are the DC books. I think it's time we start talking about the top 10. You good with that, Kyle? Well, should we do some top 10? All right. I want to hear your thoughts on the top 10 as we go through them with this week, though, Kyle. I would love to, hear where you think I got it right and where I got it wrong, because My first one has to be Vampirella number 3, aka 678, because it screams 80s to me. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but this is like weird science, or maybe that, are you the Keymaster moment with Gozra from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I thought, oh, Vampirella started an OnlyFans. But yeah, it's kind of got that vibe to the Shannon Mayer covers are great on Vampirella. Priest is doing a good job with this new storyline that he's telling. So I'm very happy that this made the list. This is not the cover of Vampirella that I ordered, but I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I should have.
I mean, yeah, I'm loving Christopher Priest's Vampirella right now. He has been, ever since Christopher Priest, came on. Whatever brilliant mind at Dynamite hired Christopher Priest, brilliant choice. He has been doing this amazing every single issue. But the current storyline is solid. Even if you know nothing about Vampirella, if you come on and hop in with issue number 676, aka issue number 1 of the relaunch, you're gonna fall in love.
Although I do want to point out, guys, this is not listed on Previews World this week.
Ooh, yes,
and this is a valuable point to make. I just want to throw this out there. That Dynamite's schedule is rapidly changing. This was on FOC when we put the slideshow together an hour and a half ago. It's not now.
Yes, that is true. I didn't realize that when we were going over Dynamite. I'm like, I didn't talk about Vampirella earlier.
Right.
This is the one flaw of the TV or of doing a live show like this. We want to get you the information as soon as possible so you guys can find out about it, talk to people, get other people excited, and reach out to your local comic shop as soon as possible to get your orders in, because the sooner you do it, the better it helps.
So what I wanted to get to, though, is just because it's not on this week doesn't mean it won't be on next week. So it's never too early to give your retailer this information. So just because it's not on there this week doesn't mean you shouldn't be putting it on the list. This is one of those things that their situation is as rapidly evolving as anyone's, and to the point where I don't think sometimes Nick knows, or even the rest of his team knows, what's going to hit FOC every week. So just, again, be aware that sometimes these things are changing even faster than the publisher is able to keep up. So again, put it on your order, get it to your shop early, and they'll be able to better accommodate you, only because they have more lead time as things do shift.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. As a retailer, I will always appreciate having that information as soon as I can. I mean, sometimes we'll get an announcement for a brand new series, and as a retailer, we don't have order codes or specific information such as price points or anything like that. So there is moments where it is too early. But generally, if you get us an order within 2 to 3 months of release, we're excited. We love having that early information because it helps guide our ordering process and make sure that you have the books you want.
Right. So, like I said, I believe this is going to be on FOC next week. So it's plenty. It's just the right time, even though this week it kind of got pushed. So.
All right. So let's go to number 9, which is on FOC this week. It is the reprint of DC X Sonic the Hedgehog number 1. We just had a second printing that featured Sonic as Flash. So now Shadow as Batman. I mean, the Sonic as Flash is a nice aftermarket value. It is an in-demand book. Plus, it's just a great comic that if you're not reading, you really should be. This is another wonderful all-ages book. And then I know this cover is going to be fire. Just imagine Keanu Reeves voicing Batman. I mean, if there's only some animated film where Keanu Reeves voiced Batman, but, all right, make jokes about Super Pets and Sonic 3 another time. This is a great cover. I think it's an awesome one to pre-order. You should definitely let your local comic shop know, especially if you're a Sonic fan that hasn't already got DCX Sonic.
Right. Edgelord the Hedgehog crosses over with the Edgelord of the DC universe. So makes sense to me.
All right. I Hate Fairyland 41. I mean, I know I say it all the time, but I don't hate Fairyland. I love this book. Brand new storyline from Scotty Young, an awesome cover showing off Derek Loffman, the new interior artist. Unbelievably great interiors on the cover. And I mean, it's raining blood. Hallelujah, it's raining blood.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about when we went over this book, for me, it's the B cover, but it's always the B cover because I like cussing. You know, this cover is great. And if your LCS was able to jump up to the 1 in 25, get there early on Wednesday, maybe you got a shot at it. There is no bad cover for I Hate Fairyland.
You know, it always helps your shop if you decide you want both the A cover and the F Fairyland B cover.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This one I had to point out. If you're not reading Zdarsky Comic News, this is the new Wizard magazine. This is better than, you know, I know I'm going to say this intensely, but this is better than Comics Journal. This is fun comic journalism and interviews from somebody who is in the thick of it, Chip Zdarsky, and he always has this upbeat, hopeful tone. He always has great humor. So this is very readable. In some comic shops, it's free. In some comic shops, it's $1 or $2. But one way or another, even if you were paying $5, it was worth it. I love this cover where Chip is going to start talking about manga, and he does a manga version of himself. Everything about this is great. We love Zdarsky Comic News here on the EXP, and I'm excited to hear Chip's thoughts on manga.
Well, and they just sent out the announcement yesterday of what next month is going to be. What the next issue is going to be. It's a Ryan Stegman takeover.
Ooh. It's like how Ryan Stegman has that incredible podcast and he lets other creators on there. Now we're going to put Ryan Stegman in the realm of Zdarsky Comic News.
Yeah.
I'm in. All right, you already heard me talk about it, but man, Star Wars Bad Batch Ghost Agents #4, Ventress unveiled. I love my Asajj Ventress. I am excited to see her back in a comic, let alone Bad Batch after the recent season. This is going to be fun. So easy #6. All right. Lee Bermejo, Bring on the Bad Guys, #1, focusing on Doom. There's been some incredible Doom covers recently. Adi Granov, E.M. Gist. Everyone's been doing their take on the upcoming Robert Downey Jr. role. But man, this Lee Bermejo piece is amazing.
This feels like Lee Bermejo doing his best Alex Ross and knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. I love the perspective coming from the Thing's eyes. You can see his fists up there, you know, ready to take on Doom. And Doom does not flinch.
Although, like, the fist placement, it really does seem like the Thing is trying to fight Doom like this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He's got a bit of an Irish boxing stance.
Right.
There.
What is he, Conan O'Brien in those old sketches? Like, I'm just, you know. All right.
All right, let's get to #4. This is actually, go ahead and get rid of my camera for a second. This is a 1 in 5 incentive variant, but I hope that everyone gets it. I love this incredible Erwin Arosa cover. Remember, Erwin is doing all of the 1 in 5 incentives on the Never Wars #1 one-shots. But this one with Captain Hook and Peter Pan, seeing their classic Neverland look and then their World War I pilot looks, has me excited. I mean, again, this is, I think, a really interesting and amazing take on the 3 characters of Dorothy, Georgie, and Peter. And beautiful cover. Beautiful cover. May not be cover price. Your comic shop may not get it, but reach out to them, see if they will, see what they're charging. And if you can get it, I advise it. This looks awesome.
All right.
All right. Then we have Gehenna, the Naked Aggression #1. I specifically pointed out this cover, Atsuji Yamamoto's, because I love Atsuji Yamamoto. When I think of 80s anime and manga, I think of him with things like Ultimate Teacher, Elf 17, Saber Cats, Hell, the video game series Metal Max, we wouldn't have without Yamamoto. So I'm shocked. Talk about a deep cut that Patrick and the guys at Image got Yamamoto out to do this cover. It is a total Yamamoto looking cover, which is crazy because I haven't seen a Yamamoto cover in decades. But wow, it's awesome. I mean, it's a good fit. I feel it's a perfect fit for this book.
It really is. This does have that sort of that manga quality to it that the book itself has, and it has the movement that it needs. And you're right, like Jay says, if Innuendo was a cover, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, you remember that this is like one of those artists that would go on to influence incredible modern artists like Adam Warren and others. I mean, and this just screams that style. It fills up the page. It draws your eyes in all the right directions. I mean, I'm already excited about Gehenna, but then the Yamamoto cover, that was 100% all in.
All right.
Blood Type. Look, we saw all the covers, but here's the one we didn't get to talk about. That incredible Miguel Mercado cover, which is the A cover, is also a foil edition for cover C. So I wanted to spotlight that. Not only are you going to have the incredible Karina Becco writing, you have that amazing Andrea Sorrentino interiors, but then you get a Miguel Mercado cover that was stunning enough as is, and we're going to make it foil, shiny, and new. There's no going wrong. This is the cover to have. I am excited. But nothing beats Trinity, the daughter of Wonder Woman, #1, Lucas Meyer homage to that infamous Crisis on Infinite Earths cover that George Perez once did. Look at that beauty. I mean, I love it from the sad face on Trinity to the winking corgi of Supergirl. Everything about this is awesome and cute and fun. It is a great homage. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it gives you the tone of the interiors right off the bat. This is the must-own cover of the week. I want to buy 5 copies of that cover without even thinking. And with a little bit of thought, I might go for more. I mean, Kyle, can you even puncture a hole in the perfection of this cover?
I mean, I can.
But do you want to?
Corgi's facing the wrong direction. But other than that, no. This is a great cover. Again, this is maybe not the kind of book I go in for, but this cover's so cool, I might pick up a copy. So, when you get a good cover for a book like this, it sells copies. Because again, this is not something I would otherwise pick up without this cover. But because of this, now it's selling. So never miss out. Make sure this is why you always go in and look at all the cover options, right? And you call your LCS and be like, hey, this is the one I want. Because otherwise they're down one sale. So just, again, something to think about.
Yeah. I mean, you got Wonder Robin right there on the cover. That was it. Trinity's name was Wonder Robin. But yeah. Wonder Robin right there on the cover with the corgi. I mean, it's a great homage to a classic cover. And this is going to be such an amazing book. I cannot stress it enough. So I like that. Super Pets 2 Justice Corgis. I will pay for whatever the theater wants to go see that movie. All
Absolutely.
Right. So, Kyle, now that we've talked about all the amazing books that everyone needs to order before Monday, May 19th, what do we have later this weekend and today on the EXP?
You got Nikki's original art show tonight at 7. I got all the art. There are some crazy covers or cover recreations that will be available tonight on the original art show. Then Nancy McCann will be live from Comics Unlimited at 9 o'clock. She will be offering our exclusive Futurist hardcovers that you can't get anywhere else this week, but from the EXP on her show tonight. Then Sunday, I will be here 4 to 6 with John Castle Spilios for a live sale. Monday, Comic Collectibles will be back. Then Jay and I are doing Second Shift Lunch, which is our All Turtles show on Monday. followed by Best Coast Comics, and all of the other great programming here on the EXP next week. Next Friday, I will be doing this show from the floor of Cherry Capital Comic Con. So that'll be super fun for us. So I will see everybody on this show next week.
I love that. I go up to Canada for this show, and then, I'm going to go back home to California, and you're going to go off to a convention for the next show. We're just going to trade locations. No one will ever be home together again.
I will actually be north of Canada when I go to do this show.
North of Canada. That's an interesting statement, because that makes me think you're somewhere up hanging out with Santa Claus, giant.
No, I'll be in Michigan.
Yeah.
But it's north of the border.
There it is. All right. So thank you so much, Kyle, and everyone who watched. Please don't forget, I'm gonna sound like the end of every YouTube video of like, share, subscribe, comment. But the key is always to make sure people are informed of these incredible comics that are going to order each week, so you can reach out to your local comic shop. So share this with your local comic shop if they're not already sharing it with others. Share this with your friends who like comics or maybe might want to get into it, so they can place orders and not miss out on these amazing books. They can guarantee the things they want. They can get the covers they need. And we all read more sequential art. I'm loving comics. I love that you guys watch. I love that you guys share it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
See ya. Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.